All right, party people, are we ready? I don't know how this hybrid's gonna work. I've never done this, so
It is, yes, it started.
we're gonna learn together. All right, I'm calling to order the meeting of today, 25th of the SCTCA Technical Advisory Committee. Let's start item 1, introductions. I'll go first. I'm Corinne Wilson.
I'm Shauna Gauze with the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authority.
Terry Zwillinger, City of Healdsburg.
Craig Scott, City of Cotati.
Eric Montani, City of Cloverdale.
D. Ripper, SCTCA.
Back of room.
Chris Barney, SCTCA.
Adam Garcia, SCTCA.
Steph Brett, SCTCA.
And then online, Dawn, do you want to mention or should people introduce themselves?
We should probably just do a roll call from the panelist list.
Okay.
Because there's quite a few people.
Great.
We've got Ashley Cotter, City of Sonoma, Bjorn Gruppenberg from City of Petaluma, Brendan Barrett, Debbie Gilbert, Elizabeth Tyree, Kevin Chen, Lulu Mao. I may have somebody else pronounce, I don't want to mispronounce his name, Wichai.
Yes, that's right.
Wichai. And did I miss anybody?
And just a reminder for committee members, please have your cameras on during the meeting for purposes of the Brown Act.
Margaret O'Connor has her hand raised. Margaret, do you have a question?
Oh, we're good. Okay, great. That was a long list. Is this our first meeting where we're part hybrid? I think so. I mean, energy in the room is palpable. So everybody online, so sorry that you don't get to experience this. Okay, so item number 3, approval of meeting notes from April 23rd. I was not at that meeting. I think Bjorn, you chaired that for me, so I will not be able to vote on that item. Were there any edits to the meeting notes? Silence. Okie dokie. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion from Derek, second.
Second.
Craig seconded. Wonderful. Do we roll call on that one?
We do roll call.
Great.
So you said Craig seconded?
Yes.
Okay. And Derek was the motion?
Yes.
So I'm going to do the roll call off of the list that I have in front of me. So Derek
Yes.
thank you. Let's see, Ashley Cotter.
Hi.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Who do we have from SPI?
Vanessa's online now.
Vanessa Garrett.
Yeah.
Laureen Roccioli, is she online?
Lorian? I don't see her.
Stephen Hunter. Giovanna? No. Elizabeth Tyree. Elizabeth Tyree. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You're muted. There you go.
Yes,
She's not.
okay, got it. Let's see, Terry?
Yes.
Yes. Bjorn?
Yes.
Eddie Takata?
Edie.
Edie, sorry. Dan Hennessy? Trina Wilson, sorry.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
Okay. Tony Bertolo, Bertolo?
Bertolero.
she here?
I did not see her in the
Okay.
list. Nor did I.
Nor
see-
Elisa. Okay. How about Windsor? Who's here from Windsor today?
Brendan.
Brendan Barrett. Is that a yes or a
Ye-
no?
Yes.
And then, do we have any transit managers here today? Ron Downing
No transit members.
and is that it?
I don't
Jeff?
see anybody from Smart either. I
Okay,
think that's it.
okay. That's everybody on the roll call.
Great.
Thank you.
For the minutes, motion passes. Item number 4, the Marin Sonoma US 101 adaptive ramp metering implementation presentation. That's a long time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dave Ripper, SCTCA staff. With us online, we have Lulu Mao and Kevin Chen from MDC, along with Wu Chai from Caltrans and some consultants from Parsons here to present on the Sonoma Marin US 101 adaptive ramp metering implementation plan. So with that, I'll turn over to Lulu and Kevin.
Thank you. Do you want me to share the screen or you want to share from your end?
Dawn is going to share on our end.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
She's just finding it. It'll take a minute.
Oh, thank you. Well, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present Marin Sonoma US 101 Adaptive Ramp Metering Implementation Project today. My name is Lulu Mao, the project manager with MTC. I would also like to acknowledge our team members joining today. Debbie from Parsons is supporting the project planning and implementation effort. We also have Kevin from MTC and Wei Chai from Caltrans joining us. They will be available helping answer questions during the discussion. Next slide, please. We appreciate SCTCA's willingness to include this project as part of the TAC agenda. Our goal today is to provide an overview of this project, explain what adaptive ramp metering is, share the current project status, and of course, gathering any feedback or considerations from Sonoma County stakeholders as we move forward. We recognize that local agencies have very valuable insights into the corridor operations and, of course, the local concerns. We really look forward to working with you all throughout the planning and the implementation process. With that, I will get started. Next slide, please. I want to provide some background. Adaptive ramp metering is not a new concept for Bay Area. It is already operating on several freeway corridors, including I-80 in Alameda and Contra Costa counties, I-880 in Alameda and Santa Clara counties, and the US 101 in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties, as you can see from the map on the right. Also, we have 3 ongoing ARM implementation projects in the region. This project, US 101 in Marin County and Sonoma counties. I-80 in Solano County and SR 237 in Santa Clara County. We also have 2 corridors included in the regional plan, which is corridors 680 and ISR4. For this project, at the same time, Caltrans continues to activate and repair local responsive ramp meters throughout Marin and Sonoma counties. The objective of this project is to upgrade the existing local responsive ramp meters to corridor-wide adaptive ramp meterings. A key point is that this project is not about installing an entirely new ramp metering system. We intended to leverage the existing communication network traffic detection systems and ramp metering infrastructures that are already in the field. The primary enhancement is the implementation of the adaptive control logic that can dynamically adjust the ramp metering rates based on the real-time corridor traffic conditions. I'm going to hand it over to Debbie to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lulu. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. I'm going to continue with the project overview, focusing on the implementation approach. So phase 1 is 10 northbound ramps in Marin County. Does not impact Sonoma, but there will be future phases that will include both directions across the full Marin-Sonoma US 101 corridor. Phase 2 is dependent, or future phases are dependent on the infrastructure readiness, the congestion assessment, and stakeholder input. The operational hours of ARM will be determined with the local stakeholders, but typically, since we've done this before, typically the operational hours tend to be 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. The meters operate with solid green when no congestion is present. The operation hours depends on the traffic conditions. It could be consistent with the HOV operation hours. Next slide, please. The existing ramp metering operations. So there is a total of 78 ramp meters on the US 101 in both counties, 54 in Sonoma County. There are currently 54 ramps that are running local responsive in both counties. 48 of those are in Sonoma County. There is, as I mentioned, additional work or repair that is required for inactive ramp meters. The regional ARM deployment, I think Lulu mentioned this on the previous slide. It's currently implemented in I-80 in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. It's also implemented on the I-880 in Alameda and Santa Clara counties, and the US 101 in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties. So it is implemented in the Bay Area on 3 different corridors, and with more existing that are being implemented now. Next slide, please. I want to talk a little bit about local responsive versus adaptive ramp metering. So local responsive, which is what the ramps are running in primarily now, each ramp operates independently. It responds to freeway traffic conditions immediately downstream of the ramp based on that local detector data. It has a limited ability to address downstream bottlenecks. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges. I want to talk a little bit about how adaptive ramp metering works. Unlike local responsive ramp metering, it considers the current traffic conditions at the corridor level. So it's not just ramp by ramp. And it dynamically adjusts the metering rates based on that real-time traffic condition. So that's a big part of what adaptive ramp metering is based on. It uses adaptive control logic to accommodate changing traffic patterns and to respond quickly to non-recurring congestion. In summary, the real-time recurring and non-recurring congestion management is dealt with through the adaptive ramp metering. It adapts very quickly to seasonal and future traffic changes because it's looking at real-time data. It adjusts a group of upstream ramps to help manage downstream congestion. So it's not just a single ramp. And then it minimizes the impact to the local street network. Typically, meters are on when they need to be on. The proven benefits of adaptive ramp metering versus local responsive. On the 880, which is one of the corridors that has adaptive ramp metering, there was a before and after study that was conducted. It reduced the average bottleneck congestion durations between 8 and 17%, and it also reduced the peak delay from 2 to 5 minutes. So it was very effective. Next slide, please. The current project status, we are in the process of updating software at the Caltrans Traffic Management Center. Marin and Sonoma planning steps are in progress as well. So one of the things that we do during the planning steps is to evaluate the functionality of the ramp meters. You can see on the right side of the screen, for phase 1 in Marin, there are six active ramps and 4 inactive for a total of 10 ramps. And then for future phases in Marin, there are 0 that are active and 13 that are inactive. And in Sonoma, there are 48 active, 7 that are inactive for a total of 55. One of the things that we do during our planning steps is to identify the bottlenecks. We'll be looking at the real-time traffic data. We identify and agree on ATMS modifications or enhancements as necessary, and then we develop an implementation plan. And I'll talk a little bit more about what's in the implementation plan in just a moment. The partnerships and stakeholder involvement, a very key item for implementing the adaptive rent metering. So MTC is the implementation task lead. Caltrans is the system owner and operator of the field equipment, the maintenance, and TMC operations. Parsons, which is my company, we consult to support the planning and implementation of adaptive rent metering. And then the local agencies providing input, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, input on operations, expressing any concerns that you have, and participating in outreach as necessary. I want to walk through a high-level view of what our scope of work is. You'll notice the little people icons on the top of some of these boxes, and that's to indicate the importance of collaborating with the stakeholders on these specific tasks, always on every task, but specifically on the ones that have the little icon at the top. So the existing conditions assessment, as I mentioned before, one of the things that we will do is look at the ramp meters and see the condition of them, and also study the traffic conditions. As part of studying the traffic conditions, that includes us doing field observations, which means we will be going out in the field and monitoring the traffic at ramps, monitoring the freeway congestion, the metering, and then also the backup to the local cities. The next task will be to look at the needs. So once we've identified equipment that needs to be looked at and repaired, we will identify that and then schedule those modifications to be made in the field. The next step is the implementation plan. Again, you'll notice the stakeholder little icon at the top, because this is where we will dig into a rollout plan and create a detailed schedule. So this says we don't just turn on ramps across the entire corridor. We kind of phase it out, and that will be, it's key that the stakeholders understand when adaptive rent metering will be implemented, on what date, so that we can be in a highly collaborative discussions there. The next task will be the actual rollout of adaptive rent metering, and that is where we turn on adaptive rent metering a segment at a time, and then we again perform the field observations. So we turn on the adaptive rent metering and we go out in the field and we monitor what the traffic is doing, what the backup on the ramps are doing. We monitor all of that in the field. Again, you have the icon with the stakeholders. The input there is to be highly collaborative during this rollout, expressing any concerns, notifying you when adaptive rent metering will be deployed, and getting that feedback. The next phase is the early performance evaluation. So as soon as the adaptive rent metering is enabled, we immediately start collecting data and doing evaluations on the data. We can identify very quickly if we need to make any adjustments in the system. And again, the feedback from the stakeholders would be any observations or any input or concerns that you have during that implementation. Then the next phase, the last phase, is to do, once all of the corridor has been implemented and is running adaptive rent metering, to continue to monitor it, to evaluate it, and to share with the stakeholders any observations, concerns, or just stay in touch while we continue to monitor the corridor. This is a high-level schedule, project schedule. You'll notice the top portion has phase 1, and then there's future phases at the bottom. So I'll go through this. It is an optimistic and a little bit of a tight schedule, but I do want to walk through where we are. So we've had the project kickoff in May. between May and August, which is what we're currently working on, we're doing the existing conditions assessment. And you'll notice that there is a continuation under future phases. That's because we're doing the existing conditions assessment for the entire corridor, not just for phase one. So that's why it says May and August for phase two, but we're just doing the initial conditions between May and August. And then between May and December, we'll go through the infrastructure troubleshooting and repairs. In August of 2026, we will create an implementation plan for phase one. That implementation plan will have a detailed schedule about the rollout with individual ramps mentioned in that. In August through December, we'll do software implementation and testing. And then in the spring, we will implement ARM, activate it on the ramps, and start collecting data. Also in the spring of 2027, we'll start that early performance assessment. Again, we start that early performance assessment as soon as adaptive ramp metering is enabled. And then in the fall of 2028, we will do a full evaluation of the corridor. For future phases, again, we're doing the existing conditions for the entire corridor during phase one. But in early 2027, we expect to have an implementation plan for the future phases, which will prioritize the rollout and provide a tentative schedule. Are there any questions? That is all I have. If there are any questions, please let us know.
Thank you for the presentation. Does anyone on the committee have questions?
I've got one.
Craig has a question.
When you mentioned the improvements, the lowering of congestion, was that going from no ramp metering to the adaptive one, or from the local one to the adaptive?
Both, but local responsive is, most of the ramps are in local responsive at this time. So going from local responsive to adaptive ramp metering.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have questions, but is there anyone else before that?
Question.
Okay. I'm curious if there is an estimated cost for the Sonoma portion, and then what fund or agency pays for that?
I think Kevin can answer that if.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kevin Chen with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. It's a good question. So, as Debbie said, I think this first phase of the work is really gonna, sorry, not the phase one in Marin, but for the rest of the corridor, we do need to go through a pretty extensive assessment on the equipment along with Caltrans. I think once we've done that work, then we can have a better idea on what it takes to do the future implementations for the rest of the corridor. As far as funding goes, we do have funding that's funding the ongoing work, for this implementation planning exercise, as well as activating those adaptive meters in Marin for the 10 on-ramps in Marin. So that's the very first phase. I think once we go through this assessment of the equipment status, again, then we know how much it's going to cost. Then we can look for additional funding to implement the rest of adaptive ramp metering on this longer corridor. The project is currently funded by previously approved OPEC funds. I think combination of OPEC 2 and OPEC 3 funds under the Regional Operations Program. The commission is going to require more time, I guess, to take action on the next cycle OPEC 4 funding, which I think we're expecting sometime in the fall, and hopefully by then there would be some regional funds that we could look into potentially, depending on commission approval, that we may tap into to expand the work on this corridor.
I guess I'm curious, is it like hundreds of thousands estimated because it would be more of a software update, or is it like many millions because it's also a hardware change?
Yeah, Lulu, feel free to chime in, but I think for example, the 80 corridor in Alameda and Santa Clara counties is a very long corridor. I think we spent somewhere in the $1 to $2 million range
Right.
in activation. And also, there's going to be a lot of field work that requires staff to be out there or the support team. And then doing a lot of adjustments and then a lot of data collection for evaluation. So those are part of the cost as well.
Yeah. And then I had one other question, which was, it seems a lot of the goal of adaptive ramp metering is controlling the flow of vehicles onto a freeway so you can help be adaptive to like peak hour traffic. Is there also consideration for backups that are caused at interchanges? I'm thinking specifically we have eastbound 12 that goes on to northbound 101 that during peak times is really far backed up and there've been accidents there. So does adaptive ramp metering also account for an interchange and just how much traffic's backing up onto a different facility?
That's a great question. Actually, that's the question asked by a lot of other jurisdictions while we implement adaptive ramp metering on 880 and US 101 in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. Yes, we do take a consideration at the interchanges. At some of the ramps connecting corridor to major corridor to corridor, we can set it as like a solid grain and to minimize the impact for this corridor in operation to the other corridors.
I guess if the question is like, can the meters be connected to, let's say, the traffic signal at the end of the ramp and then maybe beyond to the adjacent intersection? Is that kind of the question?
I'm thinking more like freeway to freeway. So there's no like signalized intersection. It's just that such a backup is caused by peak hour traffic or metering in some way. Is it like, is the goal only that you're alleviating delay on one facility and not taking into account backups on another facility?
We do consider other corridors because we do want to just improve this corridor operations and create extensive delay on the other corridors.
Yeah.
For example, like the I-880 corridor and also the US 1 corridor is connected by the ISR 237. So we consider the three corridors operation. We're not going to prioritize one corridor and over another major corridor. We do look at the balance to make sure that we minimize the impacts and improve the efficiency.
Great. Any other committee questions before Shauna?
My question is very much along those same lines, and it was just one of the earlier slides talked about minimizing impacts to local streets as part of the adaptive ramp metering. And I was just wondering how that was achieved. And I think you kind of addressed it in that last question. Just how is it balanced if the focus is to reduce congestion on the highway facility if you have significant delays on the local streets?
Yes, minimize the impact to the local street. That's one of our project goals. So during the past implementation process, we did a very, very extensive field observation during the implementation, and also after the implementation, we do monitor the traffic, also collect feedbacks from the local jurisdictions. And also, generally speaking, if you improve the freeway operations, likely the queue on the ramps, or should I say, the impact to the will reduce the detour traffic. Let's say if there's incident on the freeway and some traffic may just using the local streets. But if the freeway operation has been improved, most likely we're going to attract actually more traffic on the freeway. And that is a proven fact from the past evaluation study. We see higher throughput on the freeways. And also, if we notice that the queue is actually extensive queues impact the local street, we do the configurations in our system to increase make the ramp metering actually more sensitive and increase the metering rates to allow more traffic get onto the freeway. And also in the past evaluation study, we did notice the waiting time on the ramps has been reduced, while we still can maintain the traffic flow on the freeways. And also, and actually some of the feedback from the local jurisdictions, they did say that they noticed that their parallel major corridors actually operates better because there's slightly less traffic. I hope that answered your questions.
Good, thank you.
Right, maybe just kind of like kind of in the same vein of those questions with the adaptive, you're collecting real-time data to change your modeling. And does if it is real-time data, is there like an adjustable sphere of influence that those models are looking at so it can be proactive for when things are in different intersections coming towards the freeway backups?
When you talk about backups, do you talk about the ramp queue backups? Sorry, I'm not following. Can you please?
Like the real-time data, like if we're seeing like a large amount of cars, let's say at 5 o'clock coming from a major city, right? Is that adaptive modeling? Is that looking at that preemptively and then adjusting the lights accordingly, getting ready for that impact?
Yes.
Or is
Yes.
it reacting to that impact?
Yes, that's one of the advantages of this adaptive ram metering system. It can adapt to traffic demand changes, and not just recurring congestion, but also the non-recurring congestions. It also could adapt to traffic demand changes, including like seasonal variations.
And then how big is the radius that looks at?
Can I just chime in? I just want to be clear. So the detection that we're talking about is really what we can see on the main line. So it's on 101 and also the ramp itself. So there's like loop detectors both on the freeway and the on ramps. Like this system is not set up in a way that it can see like when you turn on Google Maps, you can see all the traffic on the local street as well. It's not set up that way. So I just want to make sure that it's clear.
Okay.
So you're not using cell phone data.
Right.
Oh,
So
no.
it's not it's not real-time data that is coming from city streets.
Correct.
That might be a future generation that that we want to work towards at some point.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Thank you, Lulu.
It was a discussion item, so I think we're good. Thank you for the presentation.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, we're gonna have to go back in the agenda. I was too excited about adaptive ramp metering and I skipped item number 2, which is public comment on items not on our agenda. Do we have any public comment? I don't see anybody in the room. Is there anybody online?
Madam Chair, Michael Cementis, excuse me if I've mispronounced your name, has his hand raised. And Michael, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. My name is Michael Sinitis, and yesterday I had the pleasure of touring some of the multi-use trails in Marin County and learning how they came to be. One interesting lesson that stood out to me was the speed at which cities got on board when they realized these paths could be used for emergency services during high traffic times that would impact the response times for first responders, or to serve as emergency evacuation routes when other routes are heavily impacted. So first responders could open up these paths to other traffic to facilitate timely evacuations. This is a topic that's been on my mind since the grand jury's investigation last year on county evacuation routes and the case of wildfire, especially around Highway 12 and 116 out of Sonoma Valley in West County. I know personally from 2019 during the Kincaid fire, it took me over 3 hours to get to Katati from Sebastopol, and it was pretty nerve-wracking. So I'd just like to say on a regular day, I'd love to be reducing traffic by having a safe cycling option and riding on a Class 1 trail along the Laguna. This might be part of the plan you're going to talk about later, but I know on a very bad day, I would feel even safer knowing there is an alternative route that could alleviate backups along the corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Any other comments? you're online, you can raise your hand. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you for that. We don't often get public comments. All right, moving on to item 5, measures M and Go Sonoma. We'll start with 5.1, invoicing and obligation status.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like we do every month, we've included the invoicing and obligation status. That is a reminder that if you have an open appropriation, you are supposed to invoice us a minimum of once every 6 months. If you have a programmed amount that you do not yet have an appropriation for, we usually put your project on the list at the beginning of the year so that you can track, that you know that you have funding coming up and that you should be making an appropriation and then submitting invoices for your funds. So this is for your reference, and please feel free to let me know if I have misrepresented anything.
Questions on that item before we move forward? All right, 5.2.
5.2 is an item that we bring to you once a year. This is the proposed schedule for the presentations of Go Sonoma and the STIP Exchange Fund projects to the Citizens Advisory Committee. As you know, anybody who has funding through the Go Sonoma programs or the STIP Exchange program has to come once a year to present to the Citizens Advisory Committee. This is so that we can keep the public informed and offer them the ability to ask questions about your delivery of these projects. And we also like to do this in lieu of something far more stringent that might look like an audit. So this is the best way to keep the advisory committee informed. So we bring this schedule to you so that you can get these on your calendar and you know when you're supposed to go before the committee. It is a strategic plan policy requirement that anybody who is receiving these funds give a presentation to the Citizens Advisory Committee. So if you have a conflict now, please say so, or, let me know so that I can make adjustments to this. I will be presenting this same schedule to the Citizens Advisory Committee next Monday. So if one of these dates does not work for you, please let me know by the end of the week. I know that's only today and tomorrow, but hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. You can review your calendar and let me know relatively quickly if that's a problem.
Thanks, Shauna. Can you remind me what time of day the CAC meets?
Of course, the Citizens Advisory Committee meets on the last Monday of the month at 4:00 in the afternoon. We make an effort to make sure that the project presentations are always the first item on the agenda after administrative items like roll call and approval of the minutes.
Great.
And Madam Chair, just to add, the meetings are also a hybrid format, so the presentations can be presented via Zoom.
That's right.
Though it is helpful sometimes to have the project sponsors in the room.
Great, thank you. I know as Shauna was talking, I'm sending a calendar hold to the people I know who will present. So if you guys want to do that for your folks, since it's so far out, I know at least it's helpful for my group to get something on their calendar. Any questions on that before we move on?
And Madam Chair, if I may, just a note on the schedule for the July 2026 meeting for regional parks. There are 2 projects that are kind of the joint project. That one will be the Central Sonoma Valley Trail that has some synergies with Sonoma County Public Infrastructure's Donald Gap project, which would be receiving funding through the Central Sonoma Valley Trail project out of the Measure M Bike Ped program. And then also similarly, the Sonoma Shovel Trail. There's a portion being delivered by regional parks and then a portion being delivered by SCTCA as part of the State Route 121 A Street East Improvement Project. So we'll be coordinating with regional parks and PI on that presentation.
Great. I'm also doing a calendar hold for myself to work on the PowerPoint for that CAC meeting.
I should mention that SCTCA does have a template for those presentations, we have built a PowerPoint template for you so that you know what minimum requirements there are for the information that we would expect to see presented. If you do not already have a copy of that template, I'll be happy to email it to you. Just let me know.
How many weeks before a meeting do you need the PowerPoint?
Usually the agenda should go out a week before the meeting. So if you could get it to us no later than 2 weeks before the meeting, that would be ideal.
Great. It's going to be a detailed calendar. Okay, 5.3.
5.3 is just a reminder. Hopefully everybody received a reminder letter from me. Anybody who receives measure funding should have received a reminder letter. This is just to bring to the forefront of your mind that the fiscal year is ending and the reporting period starts. So we will be expecting reporting letters starting or due no later than September 15th of this year. And this applies to all of the measure programs so that are outside. So the apportionment programs, the project specific programs. And as part of that, I would like to say that just to provide a reminder that if you submit photos, and we always want photos, but if you submit photos, please submit them in JPEG format or GIF format. We cannot use them if they are in PDF or photos that are inserted into a Word document. They can't be extracted at that point. So we do look for actual digital photographs, but if you could submit them in that JPEG format, that would be great. Because that way we can use them in the annual report. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that we're fully into Go Sonoma now, so hopefully everyone is using the Go Sonoma logos. If you do not have Go Sonoma logos, they are available on our website, and they are under the Go Sonoma documents and forms on the SCTA website. So you can download them there. I would encourage, and I don't think I have anybody from transit in the room, but I would encourage the buses in particular. So Santa Rosa City Bus and Sonoma County Transit and Petaluma Transit to replace the old Go Sonoma logos with the new, replace the old Measure M logos with the new Go Sonoma logos on all of the transit buses, and then send us photos. That'd be awesome. Because all of the photos that we have are a little stale, and those old Measure M stickers are getting a little weathered. Not to mention, we've had so many other Measure M's that it can cause confusion with the public. So we really are encouraging you to switch to that Go Sonoma logo.
Great.
Put those on any rolling stock you have. Pavers, street sweepers, whatever.
Get a
Whatever
tattoo on your arm.
That's right. Represent.
Really dedicated. Okay, questions, comments, concerns, feelings?
Just a quick question on the Go Sonoma, the updated logo. So this is a signage that then SCTCA would be looking for on our public projects when we submit our annual report with the pictures, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. If you want to, and we would love to see it on your signage. If you're putting them, if you're putting up signs for the public, we would love to see them on your PS&E packages, any kind of engagement that you're doing with the public, press releases, that kind of thing. Please do include. Always, if you can, take the opportunity to mention Go Sonoma if you are actually using Go Sonoma funds when you're doing press releases. I see articles all the time where I know there's measure money and it flies under the radar. So I would love to bring awareness of the measure up to the forefront.
And sending that message to Nicaea.
Thank you.
Messages while it is happening.
And Madam Chair, just to add on, I'm happy to help with any logo or format questions that come up. Feel free to email me directly.
That'd be great. Thank you, Ross. I will also say that when we did all the Measure M logos, we used fast signs. So each of the jurisdictions got a digital file, or if you want, we can provide fast signs with a digital file, and then you can order your own stickers from there. So they will have, we can make it so that they have the file online, and then we can just order them.
It would be really helpful, Ross, if you could preempt any requests and just maybe send an email with like a JPEG of the logos and maybe this info that Sean was talking about, because then we could each just forward it to our partners, and it would be easy it would be hard for them not to switch if we just shove the information at them.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I think we can send a follow-up email to TAC and TTAC members after the meeting.
That would be great.
Happy to.
Yeah. Anything else? Great. Item 6, regional information update, 6.1, inactive federal obligation status.
So this is another standing item that is provided to you each month. There is only one jurisdiction. That jurisdiction is working on all of the projects. So I don't know that there's anything else we need to address. If there are changes in the status of any of those projects, if that jurisdiction could provide those to me so I could update the notes, that'd be outstanding.
Go Sonoma County, good work. 6.2, biannual federal and state obligation histories.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this one is something that we provide to the board of directors on a biannual basis. They have asked for status updates of all the projects that are federal and state funded. So we try to keep track of the status of those projects and provide it to you for a quick review before we take it to the board to make sure that we have accuracy. I have heard from a couple of you and have updated it. Those updates did not make it into what is in your agenda packet because the agenda packet went out before I got those messages. But I have updated a couple of the items, and I will be happy to take any more that you want to provide. If you could get those to me in the next week or so, they will be going to the board in August.
Would these include STIP exchange funds?
STIP exchange funds will be going as part of the quarterly reporting, which will also be going in August, but as a separate item.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Any comments or questions? Wonderful. Item 7, comprehensive transportation plan update. Chris?
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to give an update on the final comprehensive transportation plan, Sonoma Moves 2050. So we did not have a TAC meeting in May, so we didn't bring it to you before it was approved by our board of directors in June, but we'd like to go through, what the final plan looks like, what major comment theme areas we received while the draft was out for public comment, and then just kind of walk through the changes we made to the final draft. So the final draft's available on our website along with the full digital project list. So the project list is a pretty significant appendix in the PDF version of the plan, but we included a searchable and filterable version online like we have in the past as well. So if you'd like to take a look at your individual projects, you can search for Cotati, Cloverdale, your jurisdiction, or different keywords in there, and it'll bring those up. So those are all available on our website. If you look for the comprehensive transportation plan, there's a area there where you can look at all those. So Don, thanks for bringing up the slides. We'll go ahead and move on to the first slide here. So just a quick overview on our update schedule. We kicked off the CTP update back in 2024. We conducted public outreach and engagement the entire time throughout the last few years. We also reviewed our vision and goals. Those haven't changed since our last CTP, so I'll walk through those very briefly as well. We also published a report card on how we'd been doing in each of those goal areas. We looked at a number of metrics that helped us measure that. We updated our technical analysis, including performance assessment. We used our travel model and other tools to do that. We worked with you all to update the project list in the CTP. So that's a big component of the plan. So we issued a call for projects in 2024. David and Shauna issued a call for projects for SCTCA funding program cycle 2 in 2025. Scoring's happening now. One thing we'll be doing as part of the CTP is putting together a near-term implementation plan as well that'll build off the funding program cycle 2 and include some policy recommendations as well on that. Then we released a draft CTP back in January, received public comments on that, and published the final in June. So a 2-year process, and then we'll be working on the next CTP, probably kicking that off next year again. So it's an ongoing cycle. So get ready to add new projects if you want. Don, can we go to the thanks? So just a quick review on the CTP vision and goals. You've seen this a number of times already, but the vision is really focused on connecting people with where they want to go, while at the same time prioritizing safety, equity, and quality of life. So we have 4 goals that help us achieve that vision. One, again, is focusing on connection. So making sure people can go to where they want to go and making sure transportation works for people reliably. Our second goal is focused on safety and maintaining the system. So our transportation system is one of our most valuable resources. We want to make sure that we keep that well maintained. And safety is something we hear every single time we go out and talk to people in the public when we're talking about their transportation priorities. They want it to be safe. Third, Sonoma County is very diverse. There are rural and more urbanized areas. So our transportation system should work for all those different community types. So it's important that it's focused on our communities and different place types. And finally, we'd like to move towards a zero emissions transportation system in the future as well. So those are our 4 goals that'll help us move towards that vision. So I'll go through the high level themes that we heard as part of public and committee feedback and our board's feedback on the draft CTP. So our board was really focused on electric mobility devices like e-bikes and scooters and safety and regulations associated with those. So that's very much a hot topic, I think, in every jurisdiction right now. So we included some additional information associated with that. They were also very interested in traffic calming and speed management. So again, that's another very active area in our communities here in Sonoma County. And they were interested in digging into Highway 37 as well, specifically who's using it and where they're going. So looking to public and advisory committee feedback, there was broad support for our CTP vision and goals, but questions about how feasible it is and how urgent our actions are to help achieve that. There's desire for more, having a more concise and action-oriented plan. So I'll dig into that a little bit more. A lot of support for improving safety, traffic calming, and speed limit reductions, support for transit improvements and improving active transportation, concerns with congestion in major travel corridors, and also road condition. And then finally, requests for clear greenhouse gas reduction strategies and looking at emerging technologies. So we took a look at all of these comments, cataloged them, and made targeted updates to the plan to address these concerns and requests. So let's go to the first major area. I'll start with the board interest items first. So as you all are probably aware, e-device safety and coordination is a big issue right now. So a lot of it's being worked on, as we speak at the state and local level. There are a lot of questions about what devices or what people can use in different circumstances. So we pulled what we could that's actually available right now and included some of that in the plan and also included links to outside information. We'll continue to watch that and provide more information as it's available. And then called for increased coordination on education, safety, aligning municipal codes across different jurisdictions in the county. And then one thing that's very important that our board was very interested in is getting better data. So getting information on, crashes, what types of devices were included, having specific call outs for e-bikes, e-motos, e-scooters. That's kind of a missing area in SWITTers in our crash data right now. So there's a pretty big need to include some of that information so we know what's going on. So those are recommendations that we've included in the CTP to address those concerns. So let's go to the next slide, please. Again, our board was very interested in traffic calming and speed management. So they wanted more information on best practices, policies, and resources. And we're very interested in consistent speed limit coordination. So you don't leave city limits, end up on a county road, and the speed limit changes by 10, 15, 20 miles per hour. So in response to that, we pulled in a lot of information on all of those things. We have the speed limit reduction guidebook that we were produced as part of the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. There are a lot of state and other resources that we linked and included in the plan as well that you can tap into to get more information and guidance on all these. And then recommended coordination on that speed limit setting, particularly at the city limits. Next slide, please. And then Highway 37. So there are studies that have looked specifically on who's using the corridor and where they're going. So pulled that information into the plan and provided links to outside information on where to get that. So there's a little summary there. So this was back in 2014. At that point, 18% of the users for people using the corridor, at least from a trip origin or where they were starting the trip, 18% were from Sonoma. So let's go to the next slide, please. So those are the board level comments, what they were interested in. I'll try and move quickly through the other broader comment areas. So there's a lot of support for our vision and goals, but there were a couple different concerns about those vision and goals. One is that we're not doing enough to reduce transportation related GHG emissions. And then on the other side, focusing too much on GHG reduction distracts us from improving our roadways. So kind of two different conflicting concerns. So we recognize that those are both important. We both have goals associated with those in the plan, and we'll try and do what we can to address those. So again, we included references about what we're doing, that the plan does dig into both of those, and highlighted that pavement maintenance and maintaining our system is a major goal in the plan, but also reducing greenhouse gas emissions are very highly featured in the project list and our policy recommendations. So there's also a desire for the plan to be more clear and concise. So the actual plan's over 100 pages. So there's a lot of reference material in that. So we heard that loud and clear. It's a very dense, heavy document with a lot of information that we use internally a lot. And, hopefully it's useful to you at the jurisdiction level as well. But what we'll try and do in the future is pull a lot of that reference material out of the plan and include it in the appendices or in supplemental documents. So you can get right to, here are the goals, here are the policies, here are the high level highlights. So we can get it down to 40 or 50 pages, and you can go to some other section to get the reference material. So hopefully that'll help with the usability and being able to dig into those key aspects of the plan in the future. Next slide, please. So again, like our board, a lot of support for safety, traffic calming, speed limit reduction, and coordinated policies for electronic mobility devices. I already described kind of what we did in the plan to address those concerns in that previous slide. So again, we added a lot of additional information and references to outside material that people can go reference to learn more about those issues and to see what we're doing. We also heard a lot of calls for improved transit reliability, frequency, integration, smart expansion, and having a more complete active transportation network. So again, a lot of interest in non-auto modes. So those are all big focus areas of the CTP. So called that out in the plan. and added some additional content on recent work on transit integration, including the Mascots Project and other transit integration projects. All right, next slide, please. So we also heard concerns with congestion and major travel corridors like Highway 37 and Highway 12. So the CTP already includes improvements in those areas, so highlighted those a little bit more. And the plan specifically includes policies and programs that could reduce travel demand and congestion. So we'll continue to focus on those. And then finally, we received requests for clear GHG reduction strategies, looking more at EV infrastructure planning, considering grid capacity issues, freight shift, and getting ready for emerging technologies like automation, drone deliveries, things like that. So we added some information. We tried not to speculate on a lot of this, but included some outside resources and links to places where people could get more information about those going forward. And I would say we have a whole appendix that really digs into GHG reduction strategy specifically. So that's a good resource to work on reducing our emissions. Next slide, please. So the plan is a long-range planning document. It looks out to the next 25 or so years, so pretty far into the future. It's also important that we look at what we can do in the shorter term, the near term. So David and Shauna are working on that SCTCA funding program. So you all have submitted a lot of really great priority projects on that. So once we have the recommendations for that, we'll use that to develop a near-term implementation plan, looking at those projects and also policies and programs we can work on for the next 5 to 10 years to work towards achieving those goals in Sonoma County. So we're looking at putting something together this fall or winter. That'll likely be a pretty short document, 15, 20-ish pages. And so let's go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, the plan is available up on the website. Yeah, along with the electronic project list. So happy to answer any questions or take any comments. So, and I would like to just thank everyone for your help in assembling the plan. It's a lot of work getting those projects together, reviewing those. We went through a number of iterations to get that dialed in. So really appreciate your support on that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, and the committee.
Great presentation. It's so funny how these planning documents, you finish it and then you're like, oh, but I'll be back next year. Story of our life. Okay, any comments or questions from the committee? No one's making eye contact with me online. All right. Are there any public comments on this item? I don't think
There's
anyone
no
had a
hand
public
raised, no hands are raised.
indoors and no hands are raised, so.
I'd add one other thing. We're doing a limited print run, so we're not going to be printing many, but if you really want a print copy of the CTP, let us know and we can likely accommodate that.
Shauna wants one.
Shauna's on the list.
Question.
Question.
So, how much sort of discussion in there is there about alignment of the CTP with the state, the California Vehicle Code, the trends in the state towards, safety and all of the goals that you're talking about? Are we out of sync in some areas, or this sort of mirror what the overall state goals are?
I think we're very much in sync with the state goals and, the regional goals as well. So I'd say our comprehensive transportation plan goals and objectives and the projects that you've all submitted and prioritized are very much in alignment with the regional transportation plan or Plan Bay Area and also state goals encapsulated in CAPT and other initiatives at the state level. So yeah, we dig into it a little bit. Yeah.
Great. Nobody unmuted, so I think we're good on number 7. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Number 8, SCTCA meetings. Looks like there's not a July board meeting, but there is an August. Do we have tentative items?
I thought I was pulling that up. Here we go.
Michelle, I can hold up.
I've got it.
I've got the board.
Oh, okay. Perfect. You go ahead.
Our board, instead of taking the normal July recess, is doing a recess, excuse me, instead of doing the normal August recess, they're doing a July recess. So we have a number of items that were supposed to go in July, they're doing in August instead. So we have a number of items, including initial OBEC4 programming for supplemental planning in safe routes to school, potentially a task order with BKF for the Corona Road overcrossing, related to the OBEC4, potentially ABAG contract amendment. We might be combining those two, or sorry, but that's a separate ABAG contract amendment for RCPA. Normal legislative update. The other climate items, we'll have maintenance of effort item going to the board in August. It's been a little delayed since there were some changes with City Sebastopol. That'll be coming back to you as well in July for action. Contract award with Mark Thomas for Highway 37, long-term Highway 37, 121 contract, and improvements to Lakeville Highway. And then also updates on the county's EV charging plan, updates from the climate team on the greenhouse gas inventory, and an update on mascots, along with our normal activities reports. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on the August board agenda.
David, if I could also add, as I mentioned earlier, we will also be taking the biannual report of the federal and state obligations to the board and the quarterly reporting.
Questions, comments? Still no eye contact online. Nope. Great.
Madam Chair, I have a quick comment on the mascots item. So the board asked for data on how things are going since the mascots changes. We're planning on bringing some of that information in August as well. So we've been hearing reports that things are going really well. So we'll actually have some data to back that up in August.
We have the smart TAC meeting yesterday. Yesterday? It's like every time we see them, they're like, oh my gosh, ridership's through the roof. And it just every time through the roof, which is wonderful. I love that.
And they already hit their annual goal. So
in June.
Yes. In May. So
Good for them.
they'll just be up and over that.
Yeah. Every time I ride it, it's standing room only. It's a good core workout though. All right. Number 9, roundtable discussion and informational items, grants, bid environment, other items.
I believe there is one informational item in your packet.
The MTC SS4A I saw.
Yes, that's right. And it was just to remind you all that the due date for that is, I'm getting to it.
July 1st.
Thank you.
The last page of our agenda packet, if you're interested in that.
Yeah. And we are encouraging you to apply independently. So if you are going to do that, please get your submittal in by July 1st.
And Madam Chair, just to add on that, Margot is actively coordinating with the MTC staff who are administering that grant. And so if you have questions, feel free to loop in Margot on that.
Great. Any questions on that? I'm sure you can send to Margot.
Of course I consent.
Okay. Well, I had sent a message to my CIP person to see what her update was on bid stuff. She says, to date this calendar year, we've been awarded over $65 million in work. Where are they at? Still seeing bids come in under engineer's estimate, but that may change as we get further into the summer. I know there's been talk, like there is every year recently, of tariffs and like, is that going to change in the new fiscal year? So we don't know. And we're about to advertise several more projects. So maybe next meeting I have some more info. We are doing a good chunk of design build, which I think is going fine. I have not heard otherwise. And then on the grant side, Sonoma County did ATP Cycle 8. They submitted that a couple days ago. That's really exciting. The Moreland Bellevue area sidewalk, general active transportation improvements, and it included some stuff in city limits on Bellevue. So we're excited about that. Anyone else? Exciting things. This is the fun part of the meeting, guys. Chat.
Yeah, speaking of that, we did also, are also aware that Roanoke Park also submitted an ATP application for their bicycle and pedestrian overcrossing.
Oh.
And
Good
Madam
luck to Roanoke
Chair,
Park.
not to steal Bjorn's thunder, but the city of Petaluma also submitted the river trail for ATP funds.
Fingers crossed that they don't slash the ATP budget right before, like last time.
And on that, we did receive some preliminary numbers from CTC staff on the number of applications that were submitted statewide. We just pulled that up. They received 317 applications requesting $2.97 billion. So the requests are getting bigger and bigger. Number of applications are staying similar to previous cycles, but the amount being requested per application continues to go up. So we suspect that the funding cutoff for statewide applications probably in the high 90s as usual, and hopefully we'll be able to compete for MTC's regional portion on our 3 applications.
You want to have good news? No unmuting.
We have a project out to bid right now, our Grove Street neighborhood plan implementation project. So it's a $4 million engineer's estimate. Bids are due July 14. So we will find out how that one goes. We had a non-mandatory pre-bid conference and we had 4 contractors show up for that. So, but it was non-mandatory. So we'll see.
You had your smart groundbreaking.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're starting to pull some of the tracks up in the station area. So, but they haven't put any fences up yet. So we'll see how that goes. And then they're doing potholing.
Yeah.
So they are. Yes.
I love how you groundbreak a project and then it seems slow for a while. We did that with our bike ped overcrossing. We had our groundbreaking. It was great. Everyone's super excited. And then right now what they're doing is like biological surveys and things before they can even cut the trees down. So people are emailing me all the time being like, well, we had the groundbreaking. Where's the bridge? And I'm like, well, there's, it's a process.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We like birds.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
I have a quick announcement in case anyone's interested. We're going to be having someone give a presentation in July on brownfield cleanup at our planning group. So your planning counterparts will be hearing that. So if you're interested, maybe ask them about it, or happy to send the link to that meeting if you're interested in attending as well.
Bjorn.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. Just because you asked for some good news, our Rainier Avenue project is nearing completion. They'll be striping that probably next week, and so that'll be wrapping up. Excited to share that with you all once it is complete. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times. We've got a roundabout. It's a road diet, protected bike lanes in both directions. So that's very exciting. And then we went to council in early June for a workshop, excuse me, on our next 2 road diets on Caulfield Lane and Eli Boulevard South in Southeast Petaluma, and got good feedback from the council to proceed with the council and community to proceed with those designs. So again, 2 major road reconfigurations totaling nearly 4 miles, and a couple big roundabouts and protected and buffered bike lanes in both of those projects. And those will be, at least Caulfield will be ready to go in 2027. We're sort of awaiting word. We're going to be doing Eli through the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. Not sure when we'll be able to proceed with that, but we'll be ready for it. So
That's awesome. Congrats. I would be very interested in a tour of the roundabout and just really anywhere on that segment once you have it done. I know we've been wanting to do some more information sharing. And after you guys designed that in-house, it gave us the confidence to do it. So now we're designing our first roundabout.
There you go.
In-house. So I'd love to see that when it's ready.
Very cool. Sounds good.
Madam Chair, if I can put Margot on the spot, I think she's still on. We are working with City of Roanoke Park on a quick build pop-up for a roundabout at Southwest Boulevard and Adrian Drive. And I think
Correct.
that is planned for start of the school year, if I remember correctly.
David, you're letting me down. I thought you had all my details memorized. And Tarina, I'm looking you in the eyes, just so you know.
I can see you. It's a lot of eye contact. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes, as part of the Safe Route, oh, actually, no, this is part of the SS4A demonstration project. We are doing a pop-up at Southwest Boulevard and Adrian Drive. There are schools sort of at either ends of the sections that come into it. So we are going to pop that up ideally on International Walk to School Day, which is the first week of October. I'm pretty sure it's the 7th of October. So we will have an LA subcontractor who's done a lot of pop-up work with tool design, and we are going to hopefully tap the school communities of John Reed Elementary, which is sort of on one end of Adrian Drive, and Technology Middle School on the other. So I will, as that comes together, I'll extend the invite because I really would like the cities that are part of the demonstration project to see the first pop-up event, as we have Windsor and Petaluma on deck also for pop-ups. So excited to have you guys participate and provide your feedback.
Yeah, I would love to come to that. I want to see what a pop-up roundabout looks like. I haven't done one.
Bring your friends and family.
I might.
And your
Don't
car.
threaten me with a good time.
And bring strollers, even if you don't have a kid in the family. Let's just test everything out. Bring our firemen and all the rest of it. So we'll look forward to keeping you guys posted.
It's actually a good idea. I could try to bring a fire truck.
I mean, it is always fun to interact with the firemen, so happy to bring them along.
Yeah, when you have more info, please send that.
Yep.
So I know where to go and when.
Mark your calendars, walk to school day.
First week of October.
Okay. All right. You guys delivered. That was fun. Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
See you in
Thank
July.
you.